Welcome to Subramani. Some of the questions which you have to answer as an equity investor is it really very simple to build a portfolio, or do you need a tremendous amount of luck, right? So let me give you some of examples of what I have done, where I was right and where I was wrong. You read a lot, so you get confused whether to use the coffee can approach, whether to use the active approach, whether to whether you like the Peter Lynch approach of saying, okay, not more than 2-3% in one share, and so 30-40 companies, or Warren Buffett saying people who diversify are people who do not know what they are doing, therefore they need to diversify. Actually, you create a lot of wealth having a focused portfolio. Now, there is truth in everything. You have to decide how much of what to take. For example, greatest wealth in the world has been created by people with concentrated portfolios. So Mukesh Bhai will have a lot of Reliance, and Azim Premji will have a lot of Wipro. Most of their net worth would be made of that. Now similarly, Tata Group would have all their net worth depending on how many shares of Tata Sons you hold, right? Not really so much on how much of the components that you hold, but the main company. Very difficult to do this as a non-promoter, right? I could have got into Wipro in 1980 along with when Mr. Premji took it public, and Mr. Premji would have also held shares. Obviously, he would have held many more shares. I would have bought maybe 100 shares. But the question is, Mr. Azim Premji has full conviction in that share to hold on from 1980 to 2022. What happens to most of us is we are guessing whether the management is good or whether the management is bad. So it was in 1980 that I entered HDFC Limited. Now, is this a great time to be entering HDFC Limited? In retrospect, yes. But would you have held on to all the shares from 1980 till 2022? That is really very difficult. That's what Coffee Can tells you. You should hold. But which company to hold is a very, very difficult thing to do. And just intuitively you feel, oh, this is done so well, let me reduce the risk. So you sell the successful company and buy the less successful company. For example, if you had invested in Silverline and in Wipro, there is no reason to assume that Wipro will do a million times better than Silverline, because in Silverline whatever money you had put is gone. You look at the facts, but you can't really see unless you know somebody inside, somebody is telling you the truth, right? So for me, it was lucky that I was interacting with some of these companies, so it was easy to believe. There was one startup which paid me 10x for the kind of work which I was doing, which is definitely not worth it. And he said, the guy whom I met said, well, you could take shares instead of the cash. We would price it at a good price, and tomorrow when we go public, you will benefit. And it was tempting, right? We are talking of post-scam, nice startup and all that, with the biggies advertising for them. Somehow intuitively I thought, if you can buy a thing for 10x when it actually should be x, something is wrong with you. Of course, the promoter then went to jail, etc., etc., all that happened. But it was luck that I didn't fall for it, or it was a feeling that if you don't know how to buy commodities in the market, if you do not know how to treat your vendors, there is no way how you are going to be very successful. But these are things which you learn on the way. So I invested in Reliance, in HDFC, in Orkay, all more or less at the same time. Pateja Forging, Silverline, all these companies, right? So how much money have I lost in those shares is also very important to note, that okay, so much was lost. And therefore the chances are you will sell, you will buy, you will sell, you will buy, you will sell, and then you let's say you sold it at 100, then should you buy it back at 85? Should you buy it back at 70? Should you buy it back at all? These are all questions which you have to answer when you are in the market and buying. And could I have just put all the money in a mutual fund and sat tight? Yes, I have done that also. A portion of my portfolio is with good fund managers, good fund houses, and it is growing. I am not even denying that it is not doing well, but still, if I find that one mid-cap fund is doing extremely well, or one small-cap fund is doing extremely well, it has given 73% return over 1 or 2 years, I know there will be reversion to mean. To me, it looks like, well, this is a good time to be selling and investing in something else, but I could be wrong. This is the problem as I look at it. If you invested 100 rupees in 1979 in the index, today it would be worth 90,000 rupees on a TRI basis, right? So including reinvestment of dividends. Now, having done that, you would have made money, but the question is, did you know this in 1980 or 1979 that this is what you should do? Could you have sat calm? What would you do with so much of reading that you do? Because somebody will say, oh, index can't make money, active fund managers will make more money, large cap won't make money, mid cap will make money. Now is the time for value investing, now is the time for growth investing. Oh my God, look what Fed is doing to interest rates. Look what RBI is doing to interest rates. Indians are not investing. Oh, Indians are doing 12,000 crores worth of SIP. You get all kinds of data, you get all kinds of information, you read, you talk to people. You are, I mean, as a trainer, I go around the country asking people what are they investing, what are they doing. Some come with good answers, some come with smart answers, some come with dumb answers, right? All the forces of nature, all the reading that you do, all the fund manager interaction, all the sales people interaction, all the client interaction, student interaction does influence your thinking, and you will not hold on like a promoter. If I had 100 shares of Wipro, would I have still been holding it? Extremely doubtful, because with the splits and bonuses, I would have a few lakh shares. And if I don't sell that to fund other things, why do I even have it? So it will, Wipro would have funded my foreign vacation, maybe a bigger house, any of those things, and I would have definitely lost out on some opportunity. But it is also possible that I sold it in the tech boom, peak of the tech boom, and made so much money that I wouldn't have bothered. But it is also possible that after 6 months or 8 months, when the market fell down, I would have bought the same share, maybe at a better price, but I would have still sold, right? So it is easy to talk of coffee can investing, value investing, growth investing, contrarian investing. All this is easy. You can talk about it, but ultimately in your portfolio, all this will get reflected. So to know, to correct, you do have to know what is wrong. Did you go wrong in choosing the business? Did you go wrong in choosing the valuation? Did you go wrong in choosing the wrong promoter? For us, the answer of this would come from the HDFC Limited balance sheet. We would do research only on those companies which were in the portfolio of HDFC Limited as an investment, or the Tata Investment Corporation, right? And these companies, these big companies also carried some shit at a point in time. If I had a concentrated portfolio on some of the shares which they held, I could have been in trouble, right? So it's very difficult to navigate through this cycle and finding out whether you did was foolish or whether it was very smart thing to do, right? It's very difficult to find out all that difference. So to know that you have to correct your mistake, you have to first know what is your mistake. So were you wrong, or was the market wrong? Did you invest in cement at the peak of an infrastructure boom and waited for 10 years for prices to come back? If you did that, then next time you will be very, very worried about riding a commodity cycle, right? So what should you do? Should you be patient, or should you sell off? Again, difficult. Like I like the Motilal Oswal thing: buy right, sit tight. If you bought wrong, sitting tight doesn't help, right? So if I had got Orkay and Orkay fell and I held on saying no, I'm a long-term investor, I would have lost my shirt and pant, right? That's what would have happened. So should you change your mind when people tell you, look, this company is not doing well? I did it when DHFL was in trouble, Diwan Housing. I always had a lot of respect for the promoter, and I still do, because out of the 80,000 crore problem, they paid up 55,000 crore. That's not a sign of a failure, right? So I bought the share at 40 or 45 or something and sold off everything in the end at 25 on a stop loss. I'm sure I have no clue after that what happened to the share price. So collating all this data, understanding, look at this very simple thing. Your feet should be on the ground, your head should be held high, and your ear should be to the ground, right? You've heard all these things. How can your ear be to the ground with your head held high? So think of all those things. All those problems are because you are reading and you are interpreting and you do not know how to go about it. How do you decide whether you should have a concentrated portfolio or should you have an international portfolio? Templeton had an international portfolio. Buffett had a very American portfolio. But he had big American companies which went abroad and worked. So you got the benefit of world markets without owning some of the shares. Or rather owning some of the shares of the companies based in US but working abroad, right? All these combinations influence your decision. Life looks very simple, but when all these forces combine and something contradicts each other, you also have to know what is the motivation of people saying whatever they are saying. Normally it is to talk up their share or increase their business. For example, you will be able to Google search. Warren Buffett said after the 9/11 thing, the next will be chemical war, right? So then you have to understand that Buffett is underwriter. So when all the risk comes to him for underwriting, he jacks up the premium because 9/11 has just happened and people are willing to pay. They say, oh, what is so much? What is $1 million premium if I can save $1 billion, right? So all these things will happen. You have to build your portfolio amidst all this noise. So ear to the ground, you will hear the noise. Now separating the noise from the essence is going to be difficult. Within all this cacophony, as a 22-year-old, you're building a portfolio which you yourself will judge at 62. That is the challenge of investing, and it is not going to be very easy for any of us to decide that, oh, I bought this company, I will hold it on for the rest of my life, especially if it appreciates. If it doesn't appreciate, it's gone. But the problem is with a flowering plant, you do not know how much flowers to pluck and whether to uproot the whole tree and plant it somewhere else. Sometimes it works, many times it doesn't. Thank you.